Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome into episode number 61. Right here, live and direct at Clark After Dark, as we're happy to be here once again, folks. It's been, I'll be honest, these last couple of days have been agonizing for your boy ZC. I'll get into that here in just a minute, but I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't like anybody feeling sorry for me, and that's not why I'm bringing it up. But I'd bring it up because I think a lot of people who probably hear this podcast will be able to relate with me because I think everybody has probably went through these kind of issues at some point in time of their life. But nonetheless, a great weekend at Rocket Raceway Park, or a great Saturday night anyway. We had Fan Fest over there on Saturday, man. I'm really happy that I went over there and got a part of the action. It was a ton of fun, man. We did a lot of crowd work with the fans. We had a lot of new faces, man, a lot of new fans into the stands. And I got to really tip my cap to Chris David and Harry Fair and the gang over at Rocket Raceway Park for putting together just a really, really good event. It was one of their best crowds they've had all year long. We started racing at 4 p.m., just a really, really great afternoon. This is supposed to be the intro, so I'll talk about that here in just a little bit more in a second. Flow Racing Night in America finale at Sonoya Raceway over in Georgia this past weekend. Fireworks with Bobby Pierce and Brandon Overton. We got one more numero uno at the Boot Hill Speedway next Saturday night for the Ray Ingalls Memorial, and much more taking place here. We'll talk about a good bit here tonight as long as we're healthy and able and willing to do so. I'll welcome into my co-host of this great podcast. I don't know if it's great. That's up for you folks to decide, but I'll welcome in now my man, Cortland Smith. He's fresh out of Alexandria, Louisiana. How you doing tonight, my man?
Man, we're doing wonderful. Another wonderful Tuesday night, like you said. Rocket Raceway Park obviously had a phenomenal show this past weekend. Super late model racing delivers again. Drama, great racing. What more could you ask for? We're wrapping up the season, man. It's we kind of been hinting towards it towards the end of the year here, but we get to racing and we're like, man, is it ever going to end? And now we're starting to dwindle down. And you're looking at dates on the calendar. And you're like, man, I ain't gonna be able to go to the racetrack by like one or two more times for the next 60 something days. Like I'm kind of getting sad about it, Cortland ain't gonna know what to do or what to watch on the weekends. There, of course, you can always find something somewhere just about every weekend on some streaming service, but ain't nothing like being at the track. And very few opportunities are left out on the table for that around here, at least without having to make a big haul. So we're gonna wrap up this race season well, man. Doing good on a wonderful Tuesday night here with Clark After Dark. Just happy to be here, friend, man. We're just LIVIN and Zach.
Y'all had a big old PTA meeting tonight, did you?
Oh yeah, we had an open house. We had to go in there and greet the new coming kids and the parents and all. So I went in there, put my smile, put my old salesman cap on, and did what Cortland Smith does best. And maybe that's just blabbering or being a people person. So for some reason, people seem to, I don't know, not saying attract, but respond to me. And I can always start a conversation with somebody. Just ask my old lady. I can talk to the wall. Just darn near. So we'll find a way to get something, talk about something, and interact with people. So I feel like that might be my calling in life.
Well, don't ever second guess on why you're on this podcast because you just answered all the questions right there. That's why you're here. So, nonetheless, happy to have you, man. I think the last 5 or 6 episodes we've kind of talked about, the number of the episode. We kind of correlate it with a driver, here locally, regionally, or nationally. And then last week we were like, man, 60s, and these 60s are going to be kind of sketchy. Thinking of somebody, I feel like we may be able to find at least one. This week is number 61. I got Trent Kenward. Trent Kenward out of Mod, Texas, races at Texarkana 67 Speedway, part of the limited modified division, man. He's been a limited modified stalwart for years. He doesn't win all the time, but I'm going to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Trent Kenward is a guy that, like I said, I may not call his name often in Victor Lane, but he is one of them guys that if you stop by his pit, you'll be happy that you did, man. He's just one of them really, really good dudes that we have in racing. And guess what, folks? You don't have to win every week to be a great guy or be somebody that means something, something to somebody in racing. So I got a lot of respect and love for Trent Kenward, man. He lost the motor at some point earlier in this year. And man, then he was in the hospital for a short period of time as well. Man, it was just really good to see him back, man. I promise you, Cortland, there's not many people that love racing more than Trent Kenward. And it's guys like him that make our sport go around. And I love talking about him on this podcast because, like I said, he doesn't have the best of the best equipment, man. He gets by with what he's got. And I promise you, he's having just as much fun as anybody else who's there. And I got a ton of respect for him. We also talked about Bubba Abels last week. Unfortunately, we lost him. And you had kind of mentioned something off a minute ago. I didn't recall, but you had mentioned Bubba Abels in one of your Court's Corners last year, man. That's pretty cool that we'll get to honor him again here tonight. But Bubba Abels was a mention in your Court's Corners at some point earlier this year.
Yeah, on June 7th, he won the modified feature up there at Grayson County. And when we were talking about it, and I seen him pop up on Facebook, again, thoughts and prayers out to his family and friends, but when I seen the name, I'm like, man, like I just talked about that. I remember I had it on the Courts Corners deal. So of course, shout out to the 61 there, man. Godspeed, my friend, and thoughts and prayers out to the family. But 61, it'll forever be etched in my brain now. 61 and Bubba Abels.
I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way, and I'm not telling anybody for y'all to feel sorry for me. I just it's my podcast, so I feel like I need to document sometimes of what's going on in the life of ZC. Well, folks, I just got back from Shreveport. I went over there today because thankfully my mother is so awesome because I was in such agonizing pain, Cortland. I've had a toothache. One of the caps came off of one of the fillings I got when I was a teenager, and I have a massive hole in one of my molars, my back left tooth, the second to last tooth on the left. I am not kidding you when I tell you this is the most pain, except for one. I had cellulitis one time in 2017. I got in a fight, by the way. I'm not proud of this. I got in a fight, got punched, and I got cut in the inside of my mouth, and I got cellulitis in my face. And let me tell you something. That was the most painful thing I have ever been through in my entire life. This comes up a close second. I was at an agonizing, I wouldn't even say I was at like a 5 in pain night before last. And dude, all of a sudden I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning and I woke up at a 9.2. Like, dude, your boy was like, dude, like honestly, I wanted to cut my head off. The pain was so bad. I mean, it was unbelievable. So, man, I have been dipping cloves. My dad told me to go get some cloves, so I've been dipping cloves over here like it's tobacco. That helps out a little bit. I've got the I've got the Orajel mouthwash. This stuff right here. If you've ever had a toothache, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a paid advertisement. This shit works, and it works very, very well. Thank you, Jesus. And we've also got some Orajel. This is the 4X, son. Like, you've really got to be in the pain to get the 4X. We spent a little bit more money, but hey, anyway, nonetheless, I went to Shreveport today. My mom set an appointment to either hopefully get a root canal or to get this damn tooth out of here. Like, I'd rather not lose my teeth at 37, but it is what it is. Like, my mom said, you don't need that tooth that much. Well, contrary to what my doctor said that's one of your most important teeth. And so I was like, all right, man, well, what do we need to do? So, we pay the fee, to go see the dentist. By the way, beautiful dentist, awesome lady, really awesome people up there. So I get the bill, or they tell me, how much it's going to be and everything. And by God, Cortland, if I'm lying, I'm dying. $2,930 to pull this tooth. What are we doing? How can anybody afford that? I don't have insurance. Sorry. Maybe I need to change my career. I don't know, but I just know that your boy cannot afford $2,930 at the dentist. I don't care. I just can't. I don't know who can, but I am up against it right now because like a thief in the night, I might wake up again at 4 a.m. and I'm going to be swilling this stuff down, just praying for any kind of relief. Dude, I can't take it. This is some agonizing pain. I feel for everybody who has ever had any kind of toothaches or any kind of pain. Dude, I feel great right now. Your boy is a 10 out of 10 right now. I am happy to be here because I'm not in pain. I texted you earlier and let you know what was going on just in case. I said, listen, if I'm at a 9.3 again, we ain't doing this podcast, bud. But for whatever reason, the good Lord's looking out for me and the ibuprofen are working well. So here we are, episode 61 of Clark After Dark. We're happy to be here. Please don't feel sorry for me, folks. This happens to everybody, but it's the first time I've ever had any teeth problems. And let me tell you, it really is some really bad pain, man. So I'm kind of looking into my finances and to see, like, weighing my options here of what is this procedure really worth it? I think it is, but is it worth $3,000? Dude, I'm losing it over here. Like, we're up against it, buddy. That's all I got. I mean,
Well,
I don't expect you to have your insight on that.
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I feel like I can take a good bit of pain, but if you mess with my ears or my teeth, I'm sewed up too, bud. So I don't blame you. I can deal with a lot of different stuff, but if you start messing with my teeth or if my ears hurt or my teeth hurt, I'm in a bind too. So uh teeth, I don't know what you're gonna do there, friend, but hopefully the Orajel will work until you can get something figured out. That's all I got for you.
There's got to be a dentist in the hood or somewhere that I can go get this done at a cheaper rate. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Please don't take that the wrong way, please, ladies and gentlemen. But there's got to be somewhere. Like, my dad ought to be getting a pair of pliers and rip this mug out for me. I mean, what did they do back in the day, Cortland, before we had all the dental X-ray technology and all these nice swords and all these different things we've got now for dentistry and orthodontists? what did they do in the 1800s before there was even a light bulb? They just yanked that mug out. You know what? I bet what they did, because you damn sure couldn't go to Walgreens or Walmart and buy this to make it all better. And I guarantee, dude, I'm saying this jokingly, but I guarantee you people took their lives over that kind of pain back in the day. I'm kidding you not. They probably thought it was all over. They probably thought, like, dude, we have got something bad going and it's over with. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever heard Dave Chappelle's joke about having diarrhea? Like, people back in the 1800s had diarrhea and they like, like, oh, we better get our affairs in order. All right, let me settle down and move on. It's time to move on. I'm glad I feel good right now, and that's all that matters. But again, I'm sure at 3 or 4
I'm
in the
glad you
morning.
feel good too, bud. I'm glad you feel good
Yeah.
too. Well, I hear
Hey,
you.
hey, I got that amoxicillin, son. That I'm telling you, I felt pretty good about that. I said, thank you so much, man, for the antibiotics. I hope they work. But that's all I got for that. Anyway, man, we had the Rocket Fan Fest this last weekend, and I know that you've been busy with football and a lot of different things. I'm not sure you've had an opportunity to check out with it, man. We had 85 cars in the pits at Rocket on Saturday afternoon. I got there at about 1:30 in the evening, and Fan Fest was going on, man. We had stuff set on both sides of the midway down there underneath the grandstands. And man, there was all kind of people out there. Man, we had all kind of gifts and prizes. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance was doing some prize giveaways. Man, it was just a really, really good atmosphere, man. It was a fun vibe. And like I said in the intro, man, I really, really need to tip my cap to Chris and Harry, because they've been trying to think outside of the box since they acquired this racetrack. They've been thinking of all these different things they can do to try to get new fans into the stands. And whatever it was, man, however they got them there, it worked. I mean, it just goes to show that if you promote something well, people will even show up in the middle of the day to watch a dirt track race, because they did. It was one of the best crowds we've seen all year. And not only that, man, the racing was really, really good. I'm not sure if you've seen the sprint car heat race #2 video that went out today, but Kevin Ramey and man, my memory's fogging me up here, but it was, I think, Jeb Sessoms made, but phenomenal sprint car heat race #2 photo finish at the line. The vibes were good, the racing was good, and man, we were done at 7:30. I mean, it really couldn't have been much better. It was a really, really good Saturday afternoon over there in Petty, Texas, man.
Oh, I can tell you everything I need to know about it. You started early, you finished. Your boy here actually on Saturday night. Shout out to my boy Dakota White. He got hitched over on Saturday night, got married. So I went over there and I was attending
Congrats.
his wedding, is what I was doing. But heck, by the time I got home and I turned on RaceON, like Rocket was already over. And if you finish a show, if you are targeting, all right, this is Fan Fest. We want to get new fans out here. We're gonna start early, and by golly, when you start early, you better get done early, and make sure that every single one of those fans saw every single race that they wanted to see that night before the hour of 10 o'clock, especially if it's a bunch of new faces. So that's all I needed to know about it. I know the racing is always good. I seen somebody post on there that they even did a track prep session in there to make sure that everything even went even better. And if that was the case, if I read that correctly, man, top notch. I didn't see nothing negative about Rocket this weekend. And that's really kind of hard to do in racing nowadays, because
Yeah.
social media can be the place where somebody will tell you if you did something wrong, and they're not scared to tell it on the good old interweb. But yeah, dude, absolutely. If they had a great turnout, fans enjoyed it. Like I said, I got back at 8 o'clock and they were already done, and I looked up the results and I was like, dang, like, all right, I see how the night went. So no, I didn't necessarily get to watch all the action, but absolutely thrilled that they got a good turnout. And like I said, dude, I'm number one fan of finishing early. Let's get this show on the road. Don't I'm not I know guys have some racers need time to work on things and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we targeted everything to Fan Fest. Not saying we don't care about the drivers, not saying we don't care about the track, but at Fan Fest, we need fans. This is where we're going to try to get people, and they did that. I feel like that was a job well done by them being done that early.
Yeah, it was really good, man. If you get an opportunity, you should go back and check it out. It was really good stuff, man. We were interacting with the fans all evening. I mean, even Chris David had a microphone, was talking to him, and we were trying to explain the racing format and stuff, like standing out in front of them and letting them know, like, hey, what you're seeing right now. And to some of the people that are there every single week, they hear, they're probably thinking we sound like goobers because they know how racing goes.
Yeah.
They've been around it their whole life, probably. So we're explaining all this stuff like to a new fan. And there's a lot of old fans there. I'm sure they're like, come on, man, we know about all this. But there's a lot of people who raised their hands and said it was their first time. So all that stuff isn't foreign to them. I mean, this is new information for them. They need to know what's going on. They need to know what this white flag means, despite they may know just naturally with common sense. But what does this checkered mean? What does this green mean? What does this flag mean? What does this mean? And why do they start here? And why are we putting water on the racetrack? There was it seemed like we try to have an answer for everything that was going on the racetrack and off of it this weekend, man. It was really well thought out, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It was a hell of a time. So we'll get to the results. The race ever sprint cars, man, they showed up in droves, man. Had a nice car count, 3 full heat races there. Jeb Sessoms in the Taco Casa machine, 01J machine, got the win of the sprint cars. Really good race there. Kevin Ramey was actually leading this thing early on, and lap traffic spun right in front of him in turns 1 and 2. And Ramey couldn't stop quick enough and ramped right on top of him. I mean, that's how sprint car babies are made. I mean, they were ramped right on top of each other, and they had to disconnect them. So that ended Ramey's night. Unfortunately, he was pretty pissed. I'll say he showed a lot of displeasure out there on the racetrack. Your JG Services Eco Mod winner went to Jason Hartline. I don't know how many Hartlines are racers, but I promise you, their whole family races. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Shane, Jason. You know what? Shane, Jason. Who's the other one I'm thinking of? He drives the 40. Shannon, and there's another one.
Shannon.
The youngster that races Junior Limited, Trevor Hartline. Trevor. Yeah, it's the whole Hartline family affair out there, man, and they're all pretty quick. Jason got the J&G Services Eco Mod winner. John Foster rolls in from Peoria, Arizona. No, Glendale, sorry.
Arizona.
Rolled in from Glendale, Arizona, and parked his dwarf car in Victor Lane. Dude, the dwarf cars put on a good race this weekend. They really, really did. They were racing all over this joint, and they put on a really, really good show. The Costin
Yeah.
and Son Brady Mix, his 9th win at Rocket this season for Boone Evans. That dude is just the Rocket man, right? I mean, he is really good
He
there. And then
is.
Alpha Petroleum factory stock winner, no surprises. Justin Whitehead said that he was done for the year, and he said, I got one more in me, and he pulled over the Rocket, and what a cool $500 for his efforts. But hey, man, all in all, good racing. A couple familiar winners there, and Boone Evans and Justin Whitehead. But again, Sessoms, Hartline, and Foster, 3 guys that you don't see frequent that racetrack often because, again, you don't see sprint cars race very often around here. And man, it was just, like I said, a great night, great afternoon over there.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And it's even cool. You know, when you roll into Fan Fest and the fans, the new people that showed up, even though it might not have been the most cars ever, the 85 cars were there, still really good turnout. But they got to see Justin Whitehead win a factory stock race and Boone Evans win a B mod race, a limited modified race. Like those are 2 pretty good dudes. Jeb Sessoms ain't no joke. And for John Foster to roll all the way from Arizona, I mean, that's something really cool, man. Like that's something that fans can later on down the road, they can connect with these people and see those people's names again. And I know that dwarf car race had to be pretty sporty because my boy Troop Miller, who finished second, he advanced 16 positions. So I know that dwarf car race had to be pretty sporty at some point in time. I didn't get
Yeah.
to watch it, but I wanted to give him a shout out because my man seemed like he was on a mission. Whenever I went back and looked at the results, and it said he had gained 16 positions on the field. So I want to give a shout out to Troop Miller there.
Yeah, no, he was rolling. I think I don't know if he blew a motor. He had a big puff of smoke in his heat race and literally, I mean, started 18th and rolled his way to the front with a vengeance. He was fun to watch. We were talking about it throughout the broadcast or during that A main, and yeah, he turned our head too for sure. Man, we'll move on to the Peach State Classic. By the way, folks, this probably isn't going to be one of our longer podcasts tonight. I mean, Cortland had a lot of things going on earlier, and I just got back in the nick of time. Our producer Cody Wooten's got to get up pretty early in the morning. So this may not be one of them hour-long podcasts here tonight, folks, but we'll be back at it next week, I'm sure. But the Peach State Classic, man, Sonoya Raceway down in Georgia this past weekend, wild. Like, I think that's the adjective for it. It was wild. And I mean, I think you could say that about a lot of races, but this one just had the whole social media platform on Facebook buzzing this weekend. And I don't know if it's all good either. Like, everybody has suddenly now become a race director and an official, like about what do we need to do with this Overton and Pierce situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody thinks that they can do the job better than the guy who's up there doing the job. It's just hindsight's always 2020. Cortland, how many times have we talked about this in racing? Hindsight's always 2020. You want to talk about these guys making a decision in the midst of the moment, and they got to make a split decision. I know that after the deal with Pierce and wait, so when Pierce spun on that deal, like I'm
That
trying to
was
figure out how I
Friday
want to
night. The
frame this.
the the the, the
That was
official
Friday.
thing was Friday night. That was Friday when he
Yeah, that,
spun
that was
out. Him and
Davenport spinning on
Bronson.
Friday. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Davenport spun on Friday by himself, kept his spot. Then Bronson and 32 get together and spin
yes,
out like that. That was the whole Friday
yeah,
debacle.
that was on
Saturday was the
Friday.
76
Thank you.
32 debacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at the track Saturday, so it's kinda hard to piece the weekend together, so now I
Oh yeah.
recall, thank you. So, yeah, so Davenport's I mean, he dominated the weekend, I mean, pretty fair and square, I
Yeah.
mean, the 49 seemed to be the cream of the crop, there was no
Fast.
but the
49
scenario
fast.
yeah, the scenario was, Cortland, was if Davenport still wins the race, Bobby Pierce has to finish in the top 7. and that's what he needed
Mhm.
to do. Well, he gets involved. I mean, didn't have the greatest result on Friday, but did drive up and get a solid top 3 finish on Friday afternoon, which really set him up to be able to finish in that window of the top 7, even if the 49 wins the race. Well, Pierce rolling around in there, and then, like you said, oh, that was Friday night, sorry, with the Bronson situation with the diamond down and all that. But Saturday night, Bobby Pierce, though, gets involved in the deal, and he has to come from the back of the pack again, and he's trying to work his way back through there. And Brandon Overton as well is driving with reckless abandon. You don't think that Longhorn Factory 776 team wants to have a home state showing and have their best foot forward going into 2026? I mean, this is all the frustration that you're seeing out of Brandon Overton after this deal transpires. So they get into 3 and 4. Obviously, if the majority of the people haven't seen the clip, please go look at it, and then you'll come back in here for reference on how we're talking about it. But it was, I try not to get too opinionated on like why this driver's mad or speculate on why this is that or this and that and third. I I think I agree with the majority of people who were saying, "Why was Overton so upset with Bobby?" But at the same time, like we always talk about on this podcast, Cortland, we're not behind the wheel of that car, so you're not sitting there from the vantage point that Brandon Overton is. He is saying that he got chopped. I read the Dirt on Dirt article with Kevin Kovac. He is saying that Bobby races like this week in and week out. He's just saying he doesn't have to race this way. What's kind of your opinion on that whole scenario where they got together and like, like what? I mean, I can see the frustration from Overton, but man, that's how 32 races, and that he's trying to get back to the front by any means necessary because he's trying to win a $75,000 check and win this championship.
Yeah, so just set the scene here and just try to like let's just lay everything out. All right.
Yeah,
32's
I
got to
got kind of
run top
scatterbrained on
7.
all that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 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 you're good. 32, this is we're just talking about Saturday and the 32 incident, 76 incident. Like 32 has to run a B main on Saturday to make the show. All right. Starts like
Right,
19th, 20, starts back there. Halfway through the race, the dude's done charged up to third. All right. There was a lot of cautions, a lot of there was a lot of stuff that happened up until this point. So then we get this caution. You got the 49, the 76, and 32. All right. Flow Night in America has a choose cone, and I'm going to reference back to this here in a second. You got the choose cone. 76 chose the bottom, 32 chose the top. 76 chose the bottom on the restart before because the guy in second chose the top, and he slid the guy going into 1 and 2 on the bottom to take second
right,
spot. Reference that. We just had the choose cone. 49 on the pole, 76 inside second row, 32 outside second row. We go off into 1 and 2. And Overton leaves a lane for Pierce. I'm not saying that he had the run to slide him or could have. He definitely could have slid him, but 76 leaves a lane for Pierce. Pierce comes driving around him. And whether you think he chopped him, I think we can all agree he definitely crouched him getting into 3 and 4. If you don't think
right.
Bobby Pierce didn't left turn down the backstretch, then we can at least all agree on that. Now, was he past him? Maybe, maybe not. Again, we weren't in the seat, but we hit in 3 and 4, and I don't think that was the big problem. Like, it's the fact that when we go back down into 1 and 2, and Overton has a right front flat and Debo's the wall and totals out a car that he said had 3 races
Right.
on it. Like, I don't think his frustration, like you said, it wasn't about the chop. Like, that's just how dirt late model racing is. It was about the fact that, like, Bobby Pierce, you just charged from 19th to 2nd in 20 something laps. Like, dude, you're gonna pass me. Like, I don't think you don't
Yeah.
have to go about it that way. Like, your car is obviously good enough. And I'm not defending 76 on this. Like, I mean, we're just laying out here and talking like,
No,
Bobby, you're
right.
obviously fast enough. And also, like, if you wanted the bottom that bad, then you should have just chose the bottom
Take it.
behind me on the choose cone, right?
Yeah,
I left you a
yeah,
lane. You're racing for a championship. I slid the dude the restart before to stay in second. But now, like, I leave you a lane because I know you're racing the championship and trying to do everything I can not to mess you up. And you go down in here and chop me. And then I end up in the wall. So I don't think it was the chop. I think you gotta sit back and look at these scenarios that these dudes do this for a living. This is
right.
how they pay to get their tooth fixed on
And
Monday afternoon. So, like,
but how
whenever that
often
stuff happens, what
you
you
don't
got?
ever see Brandon Overton get that hot though, ever. I
No.
mean, he might give you a pretty sporty interview here and there and throw a nice F word in there a time or two, or he might throw a damn or a
Yeah.
shit, because he's just an entertain. But I've never seen Brandon Overton that upset. And he has enough respect amongst that pit area. I don't mean to cut you off, but don't you think he got enough respect in the pit area and amongst his peers? This guy's won the dream 3 times in his career. He's won a world. Like, he's got respect. If he says Bobby Pierce crowded him or did something, then you know what? I'm going to take Brandon Overton's opinion before I take any of these other people who are offering up their opinion on social media or anybody else who thinks they know what the hell they're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them deals, and even Bobby comes out and says, I maybe crouched him and whatnot, and I get it. Like you watch the restart or any part in the race before, Brandon Overton kind of crowds a dude getting a three. Turbo did it. Winger did. I mean, everybody that ran that feature at some point in time did that. I just think we gotta look big picture here, and like seven, like just thinking. I don't know if it was Brandon Overton or Bobby said it in one of the two interviews, but like whether Pierce gets by him on that lap or 5 laps later, like I believe those were the top three cars. Like it was 49, 32, and 76. Like I think those were the top three cars. And instead of Bobby waiting around and waiting another lap, if Bobby thought he was clear to turn left, and that's Bobby Pierce. Like that's all it is. But I think just scenario and everything, I think that's what got 76 so riled up. It's just like, dude, you done charged from 19th to third here in 20 something laps or 30 laps. All you got to do is run top 7 tonight and you win a championship. Like we're just trying to survive here. We're not going to catch the 49 doing this. Like did either one of them get to beat Jonathan Davenport because of that happening? Nope. So like what did it really help other than creating drama? Like it just there's a lot of different things, and I know people got their opinion that Bobby Pierce like that's third late model race. They don't know why
Man,
Overton's mad. Well, like, dude, just think of the situation. Like, you're telling me if
right.
that wasn't your favorite driver, or that wasn't your brother, or that wasn't your driver out there that you beat up and down the road 80 nights a year, and you haven't been home in 4 months, that you wouldn't be a little fired up. It's just we got to sit back and sometimes put ourselves in those people's positions and realize, like, again,
100%.
what we say and do doesn't matter. Like it doesn't affect anything. Like whether Bobby Pierce won the championship, lost it, 76, wrecked him, whoever's right or wrong, it didn't make a difference because I still had to wake up Monday morning and go to work. Like it wasn't that big of a deal, but it just, I mean, I'm being serious here. Like it is what it is, but we can all
I
have
know
our
it.
opinions. I just think we got to sit back and just take in everything. Don't just look at the highlights that people give you or the little snapshots that people want to show you to get the reaction.
Exactly.
Like, let's be real and let's look at everything that's
Everybody is
happened
so
in this
reactionary,
situation.
man. Everybody
It's
is so
crazy.
reactionary to everything. It's like, dude, you are not the like you're not the resident guru on all this stuff just because you put your opinion out there. Like, doesn't mean you know shit about shit. Like I know I get on this podcast weekly and I talk about people, and maybe I should just delete the app, honestly. Like, I mean, it doesn't upset me. I mean, I promise you, it
Man, it's
doesn't ruin
comical.
my day or my life.
It's
It's
comical.
comical. I
I mean,
laugh at these
it's
people. I'm like, "What are
comical.
you
It's
people
funny.
talking about? Like, what is" and
Like I
because
say, I
it
may
only
hate
takes
it, but it's funny.
it takes 1 or 2 people to throw that opinion out there, and everybody else just jumps on with that opinion, and then you start seeing it over and over and over. It's just duplicates of the same thought, just somebody else with a different name. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
get it together. Like, do y'all
And
even
I ain't
care
and
this much, or do y'all just care to
yeah.
bitch? Like, y'all can't wait for something to happen so you can get them paws out and start to get after it, buddy.
And I didn't
But,
and I
this is
will,
something I
I'm
wanna
sure
talk to you about.
I'll go ahead.
This is something I wanna ask you about, like, with that scenario, though, and I don't know that I've seen anybody say this, but I think this is just the product of how super late model racing is right now. You have to drive these
Mhm.
cars so on the edge, you have to drive them so aggressively and, like, with reckless abandon where, I mean, that kinda stuff is gonna happen, especially on a racetrack and the manner in which that one was prepped the other night. That thing was slick from top to bottom. Had a little bit of a little bit of grip up on the top. But that man, we've talked about Snowy a good bit on this pod, I think. And man, I think they're getting their due. But man, like that racetrack is really, really, really sporty. Like what a racing surface that is. I don't think those guys all year long have seen anything like what they saw this weekend. And I think that's the reason also why you saw the sheer amount of cautions that you saw and a lot of the carnage because, man, when a track is as slick as that one is, just think about it, Cortland. And I'm not a race car driver, but just think about it. When a track is as slick as that is, man, it's hard to get these cars woed up when you're rolling around there at 110 miles per hour in the slick. It's like driving on, and I mean, to get these cars woed up on a dime, you can't do it. I mean, it's that's why I think you saw a lot of the carnage this weekend, just because of the amount of the speed and how slick that thing was.
And you talk about a racetrack, and how good it was, it also part of the carnage is because you got dudes that are 3 and 4 wide and they're all fighting for the same amount of real estate. Like I mean, when the track's racing, you're
Right.
3 or 4 wide a bunch, like you're gonna have stuff's gonna happen. Like when you're able to get a monster run up there around the lip because that little bit of moisture up there, like when it's tacky at Sonoya, it is get it on. And then once it starts slicking off, it gets slick. But dude, that place is just they done a phenomenal job, man. You had a lip, you can go put your right sides in the brown around the top. You could momentum in the slick around the middle. Or if you were a Mike Marlar or Overton or Cody Overton, they did it real well. You could go down there and hunt that brown around the bottom. And just, man, that place just is really, really cool, man. I was blessed and fortunate to go there that one time. And it's one of those places that I really want to get back to because just that Peach State's a really good race. But yeah, dude, that's a really, I don't think you heard anybody at all in post-race interviews complain about the racetrack. Like all you heard was people
Right.
talk about how good it was. Like even Bobby Pierce and Moran said, like, I always said I hated this place. It's just because I wasn't no good here. The racetrack's always like one of the best in the country. I just suck here. So that's why I always said I hated it. But whenever you can charge through the field and pass guys and race all over the place, like if your car's better on the bottom, you can go run the bottom. If your car was better on the top, you go run the top. Or if you wanted to be like 49 and just momentum around the middle or run a slider through 1 and 2, like you could just do whatever you could do whatever you need to do to be fast. And that's all guys ask for. So yes, part of the carnage probably did to the fact that like dudes were able to move and shake and go all over the place and it wasn't one lane rubbered up around the bottom and we all knew where everybody was going to be at.
Absolutely, man. Another thing I want to mention about Sonoya that we could have a podcast about how you pronounce the name of the racetrack too, but we won't go there tonight. Um, so the very first podcast I did when I got out of rehab in 2023, Chris David interviewed me, and it was the podcast that said I'm back on whatever. We got into a conversation. He asked me, he's like, "So Zach Clark, who do you like to listen to? Who are some of your favorite announcers you like to listen to?" I named a couple guys off. I said Essex, of course, and DJ probably. And I said, man, there's a guy that I think a lot of people in the country don't know about. And I'm certainly, when I mention this, I'm not taking credit for any of his success. I'm circling back to this for this reason. I said, there's a guy, he's the announcer of the Valvoline Ironman Super Late Model Series, and
Yes.
I think he does some of the Southern Nationals and some of these races. His name's Cody Early, man. He's really, really good. And I think if anybody ever gives him the chance, I think they'll be happy with what they hear. And, something along those lines. And I'd sent Cody, so I sent him that. I said, "Man, hey, man, for what it's worth, like, I mean, because we talk, he has iRacing. I've known Cody a little bit. Matter of fact, we raced on iRace for the very first time together last week. I didn't even know he had iRacing. So anyway, like I sent him that, and so we've stayed connected and we've talked over the last couple of years. And anytime he does something big, I say, "Hey, man, really proud of you, dude. Keep grinding, dude." Because I've been in this industry for a long time now, and I'm gonna tell you, man, I get a lot. I get a man, I love watching other people have success in this industry. Like, if it can't be me, like, dude, there's just some people I want to see them do well, especially somebody that does his job so well. But anyway, Cody Early announced that Peach State Classic the other night. And when I'm listening to it, man, I was like, this dude belongs here, man. He really does. Like, you are so deserving of this opportunity because the separation's in the preparation. I was listening to it, and I mean, I'm listening. I open up my ears, listening, and this guy comes prepared. Man, he was so good. And then I pull up Facebook, and Michael Rigsby's like, Cody Early's a really, really good announcer. And it's like, yeah, he really, really is. Like, so anyway, I just wanted to give him a shout out, man, because to get the biggest opportunity of your announcing career and to hit it out of the park and have people like Michael Rigsby texting about what the job that you did. I know a lot of people have been throwing some people under the bus, this and that. I'm just saying he might be one that could take over one of these jobs that could come available at some point. Just saying, I don't know. But I think a lot of people would really enjoy listening to him, man. He's a really, really good man, and I'm proud of him. Him and Ben Shelton did a phenomenal job this weekend.
Dude, he, like you said, the Valvoline, some of the Schaefer's oil stuff. Like you get over there that East region, and he's kind of the dude, like the super late model dude around there. Man, he does
Yeah.
really, really good work. I've always enjoyed listening to him. Just the dirt late model nerd I am. I watch all those races, and you go back and you listen to guys, and like you said, like that's a dude that's put his time in, and he deserved every chance he got. It, man. He shows up prepared every time, whether it's a Peach State Classic or a 5,000 win Ray Cook race at I-75. Like the dude shows up, and he's a dude when he gets behind the mic, and he does a really good job. And he's one of those guys that I mentioned this when I said about my boy Chris Steppen. It's one of those guys that I could turn away from the TV and I know exactly what's happening. Like he's one of those that entertains me without the actual watching of the race. That's kind of, and I know that might be judgmental or hard, and that's not knocking nobody by no means. It's just some guys have a preference, and I could turn away when he's over there announcing qualifying heat races or the feature, and I know what's happening. Like I feel like he just does that good of a job. So yes, 100% shout out to him, man. Way to go, way to knock it out the park, my dude.
Yeah, that's another point too. Like when I've heard people, people say, some of these announcers are too talkative or they're too chatty, and it's like, well, the one thing that I was always told, because like when I first started at Arklatex, we were calling it on the radio too. I was always told to tell the story like as if you're painting them a picture that they can't see, and so I've always taken that approach, and wherever that gets me, that gets me. You know what I mean? But man, yeah, he did a great job this weekend, man. So that's a wrap on the Peach Tech Classic. Jonathan Davenport won both nights. He very well dominated there in his home state of Georgia. And, man, he's Davenport has been really, really good this season. Did win the championship on the Lucas side. Obviously had bad luck one night. Kind of interested to see how their championship unfolds next year. I think you got a lot of guys that are up and coming. By the way, last week we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Dallon Murty is going to he's going to be driving a number
Skyline
13 car for the Bruning Rock Products team. They're going to be in AK race
Skyline
cars.
Motorsports.
I have a I don't I wonder how that is all gonna play out, right? You wanna see Dallin get this big shot and some success. Mike Marlar just left this team, opening up the door for Murty to get this ride. But man, like you're really going out on a limb driving these AK race cars, not saying anything. They're just not proven, right? It's not a Longhorn, it's not a Rocket, it's not, even a Black Diamond. Like, I mean, these AK race cars, there's not a whole lot of R&D on them. And who are you going to have to bounce notes off of? That's the main concern I have for Dallin Murty going forward in his rookie campaign. I think this kid can get lightning in a bottle, right? He can get the good out of a lot of anything we see him drive. But the transition from stock cars to late models and go into a chassis manufacturer that's unknown and like I said, is not proven yet. If this young man comes out and wins a Lucas race this year or Outlaw or something, and he does it in this car, there's no ifs, ands, or but. There's no debate. This dude is the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. It's I know he's raced the late model some sparingly, whether it was Malvern Bank stuff or IMCA stuff, but maybe it'll be like a good thing because some of these guys they get to racing, whether it's a Longhorn, Rocket, Capital, Black Diamond, and like all these different cars have different feels that like that's when their prime is when they feel this way and do this way. Well, like maybe that Murdy hadn't raced a whole lot in the late model deal. I know he has raced some, like, but it's not like he's got 10 years in a Longhorn or 10 years in a Rocket, and it's got to feel this way. So maybe you can get behind that AK deal, and who
Yeah.
knows, that Skyline Motorsports, they obviously aren't short of any money. Let's just be real. And if they're kind of using AK, they're all kind of putting resources together, and this is the R&D kind of together in this whole venture, then so be it. Let's just be real. When you got Rocket, Longhorn, and all in Capital, and there's the upper echelon of dudes, and I'm not saying that they withhold information from anybody, but there's definitely information that makes its way down slower than other information. Like, let's just be real here. Like, there's a reason, like, the dudes that find something are really, really fast, and then eventually it trickles down. And so, maybe instead of trying to wait the process, they're just going to be the main focus of AK race cars. Because if Dallin Murty hops in a Longhorn, I'm not saying they won't be focused on them, but their main focus is keeping the 32, the 49, the 20 RT, Devin Moran, keeping those dudes out front because they know they can go out there and win races. Whereas when you look at Murty, like, not saying again that they withhold any information, but like their focus ain't going to be on making sure that dude's out there winning Lucas Oil races. Like they already got dudes, they
Right.
got their names, they got their stalwart guys. Like they're going to make sure that those dudes. And so with AK, like he's the main focus of this deal. You're getting Skyline Motorsports, the money and the resources a team like that has. Like I know Austin Kirkpatrick has to be like like he has to be
Yeah.
absolutely ecstatic. The fact to have Tyler Bruning, a dude that's a proven national tour guy. Like I mean,
Right.
he's a
He's a
really
winner.
credible racer. And then you got this up and coming star in Dallin Murty, and then AK Race Cars new level edge design. Kyle Strickler's ran it a couple times, hasn't looked terrible. Like
No,
it's
he
not like
hasn't.
it's a complete and not like it's a
Right.
complete piece of junk. So who knows? Like
No.
this might be, like you said, it might be. Oh, I'm about to knock my microphone off right there. I was about to do lightning in a bottle.
You know,
Look, I'm getting excited over here for Dallin Murty, but just like
hell
paint the
yeah.
picture. Let's look at all the options here. And so it really might be something that works out in the long run. Or it's one of them deals that after the end of the year and they've run a solid average of 15th place in every super late model race, that they'll be ordering Longhorns or Rockets the next year. Like that's
Yeah, well,
part of the sport we're in. But when you paint the picture like that and you look at it from every different scenario, I mean, I could tell, Zach, it had your brain up there thinking and stumbling some that like this might work out all right for the old Dallon
I
Murty.
think it might. I mean,
I mean, just
all you
let's
can do
just
is
look at it
try and
like
fail.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll never know unless you try. And I mean, the only way to know is if you fail, and then you can only get better from there. And the thing about it, I think, is and this is with a lot of jobs you'll talk about with anybody in the world. It doesn't matter what it is. So let's just say, hey, let's apply this job. A lot of people would rather somebody come in that doesn't have any experience in that field so they can train them fresh from new. Similar
Yep.
situation here to your point that it might be easier to take this young man and stick him in something and he can learn on the fly and he's not going to be looking to compare it to the feel that he had in this car, compare it to what he was looking for in this car. He can only try to improve on what he feels in that car. And that is a game. Hey, it's funny. I was going to say it's a
Game
game changer.
changer.
His moniker is the game
I like
changer.
that.
I
Yeah.
tell you what, this kid really, I think he is a game changer. I mean, he is and I hope he gets his $100,000 that he's owed from XR events.
Is he still owed that money?
I, I thought so, but maybe he's not. Sorry.
I know
Let me don't
Strickler's
get
still
Clark
owed.
out.
I know Strickler put it
Yeah.
out there that he was still owed. I didn't know if Dallin was still owed or not.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
but like you
I don't
said,
want to get Clark after dark sued.
no. But anyway, like Dallin Murty, like you said, the feel of dirt late model racing is ever changing. Think about like the change of the tides we've had recently. The Moran, the Bobby Pierce, the 20 RT, like all these dudes that are coming up, like used to dirt late model racing. Not that it was an old man sport, but you had your Bloomer, your Moyer, your Dales, your Owens, like all those guys that could keep a car straight and you saved your equipment and this, that, and the other. And I think I heard Nick Hoffman and was listening to a podcast and he was like, dude, you don't do that no more. Like even if it's a 50 or 100 lap race, like you just mat it and go. And so with
Right.
the technology that's changed, dirt late models have definitely the way they feel nowadays has changed 100%. And you kind of saw that with Earl Pearson Jr. and Don O'Neill. Not that those guys got weeded out. Of course, they not blamed it, but older age and time for them to retire. But like they didn't have the feel that the cars used to have. Like now to be fast, you got to drive different. And then you stick us on a completely brand new tire. I say us like I'm a driver. If I ain't no driver, I'm just a pit reporter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Here,
you
it
stick them on
says
a
it right
completely
there.
new tire. Yeah, it says it right there on the bottom. Then you stick them on a new tire and you get this complete new feel that it gives a chance. Again, just to kind of reiterate that, like Dallin Murty may go out on this AK race car and just flat out win, or go out there and run solid 15th, and they just go, you know what, let's try something else because maybe this AK ain't the ticket. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm happy to see it. I think it'll be a good combo, and we need more diversity in late model world. Like we need more chassis diversity because right now you got 90% Longhorns, 10%, 90% Longhorns, 8% Rockets, 2% Capitals, and everybody else kind of fits in where they fit in. So I want to see some diversity, and maybe this AK race cars gets fired off and rolling, and create a little bit of drama in the chassis world. Not like there ain't enough drama in dirt late model racing.
100%, man. There's a lot of drama this last weekend. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. Before you know it, the Dome will be here. Just a couple weeks for the Dome. Looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome. Got Boot Hill next Saturday night. Looking forward to that. The Ray Ingles Memorial folks, y'all be sure to come out. It's going to be a good afternoon at the Hill. We should be starting a little bit earlier. We'll have modifieds there. Hey, how about this? One more thing before we get out of here. How about Cade Dillard tabbing Talon Willis, Mikey Kyle tabbing Talon Willis as their house car driver? Man, that's maybe we can talk about this a little bit more. I actually thought about having Talon on the podcast soon. I think that'd be pretty cool, man, to have him on. But I think that's really, really exciting stuff for that young man. Talon Willis tabbed in house car driver at 16 years old, man. He's on the right path.
Yeah, it'd be really good for him. We'll see how this year goes. See what his see what his plans are. I don't think they said they're going to go out and run any tour, but yeah, really cool. It's obviously the relationship was there. I'm not going to say he was already the house car driver, but he was loading up with Team 97 and rolling up to Wheatland and going out to Vado and racing with them already. So it was kind of a easy, a gimme there that if they were going to start something, he was essentially kind of the house car without being deemed the house car. You know what I mean? Like just the way they
Right.
work and operate and how close he is to that whole operation and all. And 100%, man, absolutely thrilled to see that happen for him. And I don't think he's going to run no series. But if he is, I'm sure whichever one he goes to tackle, he'll tackle full steam ahead and do what Talon Willis has done, and it's time and time again proved that the kid from 10 Mile, Louisiana can wheel with the best of them. So, well, like you said, hopefully we'll have him on and we can go a little bit more in depth with that. That'll be pretty cool. And before we get out of here, just I don't know if you're wrapping up or not. For
Yeah, go
anybody
ahead.
around here in the great state of Louisiana, Mississippi, or within driving distance, I believe it's this weekend. I think I pulled the dates up right. Pike County Speedway is opening back up with Kai Kelly
The
at the helm,
Jambalaya
and it's
100.
the Jambalaya. Yes, sir. Super late model racing. Pike County Speedway is back, dude. Little old Cortland at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Dad would always pile me up and like the Jambalaya 100, the Magnolia State 100, Topless 100. Like those were the races that we went to every single year. And yes, you would absolutely freeze your tail off. But it'd be really cool to see, man. I think Kai Kelly getting a dirt track, like the drag
That's cool,
racing
man.
superstar that he is, getting a dirt track and wanting to put on the Jambalaya 100 first race out. That's something really cool. I think it'll be on Hunt the Front TV. I know that's a different streaming service, and people are going to say I'm not buying another one, but you can watch it there, or you can make your way out to Pike County Speedway and go check it out, man. I think it's really cool. We got an integration of motorsports here and the fan base that Kai Kelly brings. I'm sorry, I may be attacked for this, but drag racing, I don't see how people get fired up for that. So if we can take drag racing fans and show them that, dude, our cars can go fast and turn left, not just go in a straight line. Like we might be able to garner a few people over this way. So I think that's something that's really cool. Before we headed out, I just wanted to mention that Kai Kelly Racing owns a dirt track in Macomb, Mississippi, and they're running the Jambalaya 100. And what more could you ask for? Super late models first race out. I hope everything goes well for Kai, and I hope we get some more dirt track fans, man. The integration of
Dude,
motorsports has been absolutely amazing the last couple of years, and I think it's something that's going to help everybody along the way.
Dude, I had this sprint car, the very first sprint car racing video game I had on PC when I was in middle school. I don't remember how old I was. I may have been like 10 to 13, but anyways, first sprint car game I ever had. But Pike County was on that unit, and it was my
Yeah.
favorite racetrack. Pike County was awesome. I've always wanted to go to Pike County. Never had the opportunity. It's kind of sat dormant there for a couple of years, but dude, Kai Kelly seemed all the way in on this. I think that's one of the coolest things about all of this for me is like this dude's a drag racer turned interested into dirt racing, and he's now acquired a racetrack, and he made laps in
Yeah.
Rodney Wing's car just a couple of weeks ago. My boy Carl Kilgore was out there helping him get comfortable in it. I mean, he really seems all in, and they're having a lot of fun, man. And to revive a racetrack in Mississippi's one cool for one thing, like you said, the Jambalaya 100 has namesake, and there's a lot of history in that event. Like Rick Dukes won the Jambalaya 100. I think Rob Litton's won it. Some pretty cool name. I know that
I
Rick
know
Duke
this
won the
is sound
2004. He won the 2004 Jambalaya 100 in the open wheel modified division.
and I'm just gonna throw this out there. I just remember this as a kid, but like I'm 6 years old. My dad's running a modified or limited mod, whatever it was at the time. I don't remember, but we parked beside Brady Smith from
Yeah,
Wisconsin, who
number
won
two.
the Knoxville Nationals that year. The year he
Yeah,
won, I think it was '07 or '06. He won the Knoxville Nationals. Brady Smith was all the way in
yeah,
Macomb, Mississippi, in the Amsoil number 2 car,
hell
and
yeah,
you weren't going to tell me no different. I was related to Brady Smith because he had some
yeah,
really cool t-shirts and he had one of the big rigs and little old court. Like we parked right beside him, and I like him, and of course my boy Darty, about like me, he's going to find a friend somewhere, and they got to talking, hanging out, and all the crew guys. Like I got to go up in the trailer. That's probably one of the first, other than probably Kenny Merchant's rig. That was probably one of the other first big rigs that I got to walk up into, and man, it was really cool. But yeah, like the Jambalaya 100's a race, dude. You had guys that won the Knoxville Nationals the same year driving down there to race the Jambalaya 100. So like you said, it's got the history, it's got the prestige. It's going to be a really cool event. I know I cut you off there. You were talking about Kai Kelly getting into this deal and how it's all going. I also want to mention that he posted a video from Why Not the Fall Classic, and it had like 300,000 views in like 2 hours. Like the amount of people that he can reach that have probably never seen dirt track racing, especially on the level like that video from Why Not. He was standing in turn 3, absolutely phenomenal shot. Start of the feature race. They're 3 wide all over the place. But dude, the amount of people he's going to be able to reach and bring in, it's up to us to keep up to make it look good and keep those fans around.
yeah, man. He's got a lot of great connections. I think it's going to be good for the sport, man. And I've always said it, man. Motorsports in general, we're all one. They always talk one love. Well, we all love
Yep.
motorsports, and I think that's the one thing that unites us all, whether it be two wheels, four wheels, or a steering wheel or no steering wheel, handlebars, whatever. Man, motorsports, we all kind of row in the same direction. We all row in one boat. So, man, I wish them all success. I hope Jambalaya 100. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. My tooth's starting to hurt right now, and it's time to wrap up. And again, I don't want no sympathy, but I'm gonna show you people. Look, this is my tooth. Look at that big ass hole in it, y'all. It'll clear up, but dude, that's a big hole, huh? That's my tooth.
That's
Dude, that looks so
yeah.
disgusting. Like, that is disgusting looking. I take good care of my teeth. Look at them. It's just that straggly one. It's just that one back there that just got away from me. I don't know what happened, but it got away from us. And, hey, I just want the pain to go away, man. That's all I want. I don't care about the tooth at this point. But hey, if anybody watches this podcast, if you're a dentist and you want to do a little side work, I mean, I got like
If
$400 or $500.
you're
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I want to do some side gigs. Hey, I can't spend 3 grand to get this tooth out, but I damn sure will spend 4 or 5 or 6 on it. Okay, just saying. There's got to be somewhere in the world that somebody can remove a tooth for $400. Like, I feel like that's still a robbery. Dude, I'm getting out of here, Cortland, before I lose my shit again. I am really upset about this tooth situation because if I wake up again at a 9.3 tonight, your boy's going to be hot underneath the proverbial collar.
Well, let's just go ahead and say looking ahead. You got 2 races left on the
Oh,
RaceON. You hit 'em,
thank
you hit it. You got the Granddaddy Ray Ingles at Boot Hill Speedway and the Gobbler at Hunt County. Those will all be on November
you.
29th. So not this weekend, but the next. Those will be the last 2 races on the RaceON platform. Nothing is going to be live on RaceON this weekend. But you want to know the wonderful thing, Zach? It's all
What?
on replay, and I'm going to go back and get to watch Rocket Raceway Park this weekend if I have any time and I don't have no race to watch. That's the glory about all this stuff. It's all stored, and we can pull it up whenever we want to. Are you about to take a shot of Orgel live and direct?
As
I
soon as
think
we
that's what you were.
start, dude. Yeah, it's start and I'm not exaggerating. Like, dude, it has really been killing me, dude. I have been so fortunate that it did not hurt for the majority of this podcast. I've been at like a 3, and a 3 is really good compared to a 9. I promise you. 3 almost feels like no pain at all whenever you've been at a 9. So I've been feeling really good. But like right now, I think we're back at like a 6.6, and I need to get the hell out of here for that. I love you, bud.
Well,
Thank you for everything you do for this pod. Thank you to all these great folks who listen to us come here and yap every single week. Y'all are awesome. Thank you, Cortland. Everybody be blessed and be a blessing. We'll see you next time.
later.